Hello and welcome to Move Studio. Today I'm going to take you through a daily stretch for runners. So we start in a parallel position, heels under the hips, and we grow nice and tall, toes spread nice and wide. So just think about gills at the back of the neck. You want them to be open, and we feel this sense of a smile across the collarbones. From here I'm going to come into what we call a roll down. Number one, we bring the chin to the chest. And we start to peel our spine forwards, rolling forwards. Try and keep your hips above your heels. Let your arms relax. If your back's feeling tight, you might want to bend the knees. And just take yourself down as far as you're comfortable to go. It's not a competition, so it's not about trying to touch the floor. It's just going to where you feel you can and find that boundary. And then as you start to stand, you want to push the ground away and feel like you're doing a zip up through the inside of your legs. Bring your pelvis back over your heels, restack your vertebrae, and bring your head back over your shoulders. We'll repeat that 3 more times. Chin to chest. Think of yourself standing against a wall with a Velcro suit on, and you want to peel yourself away from the wall. A little lift through your lower abdominals, a softening in the arms, a release in the head. So everything's nice and soft. Again, just finding that end range for you. And as we lift through our centre. And it's a feeling of gathering up through the inner thighs to your sitting bones. Placing the pelvis back over the heels, the rib cage back over the pelvis, and the head above the shoulders, and your eyes come onto the horizon. 2 more. Chin to chest, and we fold the body forward. Let the arms hang. Let the head just lead you down. This is your exhalation to come down and push the ground away. Gather through your centre as you inhale to restack your vertebrae and find your centre. 1 more. Chin to chest. Remember that wall that you're standing against. Think of that Velcro suit. Drawing yourself away from the wall. The arms are long, the head is relaxed. And you continue to come down to your boundary. Maybe this time you've gone a little further. And then push the ground away. Start to stand in your legs again. Gathering through your inner thighs. And stand up over your feet, nice and tall. Keep your toes spread wide and keep your nice upright position through the spine, like your tailbone is softening down. Just bend your knees, spread your toes, and just bend, moving into the ankle, and then stand. Again, as you bend, spread your toes, knees tracking forwards. And again, so as you bend, we want the knees to come forwards over the second toe. And then stand. 1 more time, bend the knees. And then we stand. This time as you bend the knees, just transfer your weight to your right leg and roll up onto the left toes. Then bring the foot back down and stand in both legs. Bend, transfer to the left side and just roll up. So we're just moving through those toe joints. Footwork and lower leg work is really important if you're out running on a regular basis. Or for most people, this work is really important to keep those feet mobile and strong. 1 more time each side, transferring, rolling up. So really notice all of the toes as you come up and stand. Obviously, if you've got issues with your feet, sort of some people I know that I work with have metal plates in their feet through injuries. Obviously, just go to where you feel you can. Let's find centre and stand. Now we're going to rise onto all 10 toes. This is when your chair can be useful, or a bench or a wall. You're lifting up onto all of your toes. Now, if you are doing this outside, then you will have your trainers on. Ideally, we do this without trainers, just so you really get tactile and feel the ground beneath you. But as I say, rather than missing out not doing it at all, then I would prefer you to be doing it in trainers rather than not at all. And again, lifting up. Once you're on your toes here, let's just bend the knees. Then place your heels down and stand. I'll do it sideways on. Lift up through the heels. Bend your knees. Place the heels down and stand up tall. Again, lifting onto your toes. Then bend your knees. And then place your heels down and stand. Reverse it. We bend the knees. Then we roll onto all 10 toes. Lift up and the heel comes down. Bend, roll up, stand in your legs, heels down. So ideally, if you don't need to use the chair or the wall for balance, then absolutely fine. Work without it. Really nice balance work too. And you might notice that you're favouring one side or the other. And then we're going to come into some shoulder rolls. Place your hands on your shoulders, lift your elbows and open them up, back and down. Coming forwards, open up, back and down. Just 2 more. In, up and around. In, up and around. Let's take it the other way. Taking it forwards, round and down. Back, forwards, round and down. Back, forwards, round and down. One more time. Back, forwards, round and down. Wonderful. I'm just going to pop the chair to the side and we're going to do a roll down. But we're going to take the roll down into a forward plank. So we're going to walk out onto the hands. So the chin comes down, which is really great for mobilising the spine, stretching through the back line of the body and reaching that point. If you need to bend your knees, please do so. You're then going to walk your feet, your hands out to find a plank position. So with the plank, your hands stay under your shoulders. The back of your neck is long. And I want your heels to just push away slightly. Think of your sitting bones connecting and the lower abdominals lifting up and behind your navel. Then we walk back. Walk back and we find our feet. Once we're over the feet, roll up through the spine and find your centre. Weight just in front of the heels and eyes on the horizon. Chin to chest, rolling down, all the way down to the mat. Walking the hands forwards, hands underneath the shoulders, neck long, sitting bones connected. Push down into the hands, up into the armpits. Walking the hands back. If you need to bend your knees, by all means, that's absolutely fine. Coming up and 2 more times. So we're combining mobility work with stability work, and that's what I love about the Garuda method. Although this isn't strictly just Garuda, the work in Garuda really does kind of bring all of those elements into every movement. Find your centre. Then we walk back, walking back, and then rolling up through the spine. We'll do that one more time. And obviously you can do this more repetitions if you feel it's kind of improving or you want to sort of keep working to challenge yourself. It's absolutely fine. It's about finding your alignment here as well. So we don't want to have the bottom up in the air. We don't want to have the hips dropped. And we don't want to collapse the shoulders and bring the head forward. So it's all about just knowing where how you're placing your body in space and then walking back. It's really nice to have somebody observe you with some of these things. So if you have somebody that can do that for you, that can be really helpful. Or a mirror. Find your feet and stand. So now we're going to take it into a prayer. So we're starting to notice the front of our bodies. In running, we tend to sort of be back in our hips. The hips can be very tight. And so we want to kind of start to come into the front of the hips so we can start to use our glutes, the muscles in the buttocks. And this is just a gentle way of moving in and out of those spaces to help release the tension that may be built up there. So we spiral the hands, and that's when we turn the hands and I reach my arms out to the side. As I do that, I bring my weight onto the toes. My pubic bone comes forward, my breastbone forward, and my eyes look up to look at the hands as they come over my head. I then roll down. As I come down, I send my tail back, a nice flat back, sit back into my hips, and then the head and shoulders drop, and then roll back up through the spine. Lifting the arms, pubic bone and heart forwards, hands above you, look into your hands. Bring them down almost like a prayer position, and then send the hips back. Bring your body over your thighs and soften. Push yourself back up again. 2 more. Breathing into the front of the body. Breathing out as you fold down. Soften, rounding there. Push the ground away. Unravel. One more time. In breath to come up. And the out breath to fold down over the legs. And push to stand. Place your right hand behind the head and the left hand at the base of your spine. And we're going to transfer the weight forwards onto the toes again, and then move into the hips, move into the heart, and lift towards the ceiling, open. Then the weight transfers back, and this time I curl my tail under, trying to keep the throat above the pubic bone. I really lean into my bra line, curling. Sending my weight forwards, moving into the front of the body, opening hips and heart. We'll repeat. Breathing out, curling to the back. Breathing in, unraveling to the front of the body. One more time. Weight through the heels, round into your back, gaze into your navel. Coming forwards and open into the front of your body. And then come and find your centre. With your centre, just keep those hands a nice distance away from each other so the hands are moving apart, creating space at the back of the body. We then bring the elbow as if it's being pulled to the side. It then goes up to the ceiling, my hips move across, my ribs move across, and it's like I'm hanging off this elbow as I lean into the side of my body. I use my inner thighs, pulls me back over my heels. Again, elbow, ribs, hips, find the boundary at the side of your body, lean into it. Then come back, inner thighs, draw in. One more time. Breath comes in as we lift and we open. Really open up from those floating ribs. Elbow to the ceiling. Be brave. Then come back to centre. Windmill your arms around. Change hands. Lengthen. Give that space between the hands. Open the gills at the back of your neck. And then your elbow, your rib, your hip. And you lean. Breath comes in to open. Inner thighs draw you back to centre. Again, elbow, rib and hip, lean. Can you feel the outside of your foot? Can you feel moving into that hip, into the ribs? And then coming back to centre one more time. Elbow, rib and hip, breathing in. Take it where you can, be brave. And then come back to centre. And bring the hands back down by your side. Lift the shoulders up and let them drop. In and up and let them drop. One more time. In and up and let them drop. Brilliant. So, standing back ready for your roll down, I'm moving this way because that's the direction that my mat is, and you'll be able to see my profile more easily. We're going to come down through the spine, rolling forwards. Again, just bending the knees if your back's feeling tight or you're feeling too much tension anywhere in the back line of your body. We then walk forwards onto our hands and we establish that plank position. So here, I'm then going to push into my hands to lift my hips and draw my heels down towards the ground. Now I've got typical runner Achilles, I've got tight calves, and so my heels aren't reaching, but my intention is there. I'm really trying to get my heels towards the ground. I then draw myself forwards, establish my plank position again, and then send myself back, lifting my tailbone and sending my heels towards the floor. I bend one knee, push the opposite heel down even closer, then swap. So it's like I'm walking through my feet. Yeah, again, really rolling through the toes, lengthening out through the calf, really moving intention through those joints, yeah? Really notice how that feels and breathe. And then both heels press down and you bring yourself back to your plank position. Establish that alignment through your body and then walk your hands back towards your feet and roll yourself up to standing. So I'd like you to now take your chairs again, and we're going to use the chair to have a little bit of support for the upper body. And we're going to come into a stretch, two stretches. One of the stretches are for the front of the thigh, and what I'm more interested in is the quadricep that crosses the hip joint, the rectus femoris. And this one, to do that, we need to make sure we keep our hips open. So just using one right hand on for me, I'm just going to bring my left foot up. Now, I don't want to be here and sitting out of my hip, yeah? Take it forwards and bring that hip forward, bring your pubic bone forward, and let the knee drop underneath the hip. And just send those hips forward. The knee is lengthening away. So we're not going to hold it for too long, so dynamic stretching is really what I sort of find useful for holding in those joints. So we're just going to sit back there. So my foot comes onto my knee and I sit in. I come up, hold, and then back to that quad stretch. Then I bring the foot forwards and I sit. And up, take hold of the foot and take the hip forward. Again, foot on, and nice long spine, sitting in, coming up, and hold one more time. So just about 4 repetitions of each. Foot comes on, and on the last one, just do some little pulses there. 2, 3, and 4. Bring it up, change legs. So now my right foot comes up behind, my hip comes forwards, and my knee lowering down. Really grow tall through the spine, but just be careful you're not pushing your ribs forward as well. So we want to connect through the front ribs, keeping those back ribs nice and open. Bring the right foot to the left knee and sit down in the leg. Coming up, holding the foot, bring the knee underneath you. Bring the foot onto the knee and sit. And again, so some great work for the hip here. As I said, this type of thing can be quite easily done sort of outside on a fence. Some really lovely stretches here for releasing, opening up those hips. So this is our last one, so let's do those pulses there. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bringing yourself up and standing tall. I then want you to take your feet back. Keep your hands on top of the chair or the bench or the kitchen side, whatever works for you, or wherever you are. And think about coming round these back ribs to give you a little hug. And remember those gills at the back of the neck are nice and open. From here, I'd like you to bend your right knee. And as you bend the right knee, move into your left hip and rib. And just turn to look underneath the arm. Then straighten the right leg. Bend the left knee, right hip goes back. And you look underneath the right arm. And straighten. Bend the right knee, turn, inhale. and centre. Bend the left knee, push that hip back and centre. Bend the right knee, then take your right hand off. Place it on the outside of the leg. Send the hip back and push to see if you can just bring yourself around that little bit more. Keep leaning into the side of the body. And then straighten up your right leg, right hand back on. Bend the left knee, left hand across, and then send the right hip back, open into those right ribs. Really push against the outside of the leg. Can you come round a little more, moving from your heart? Centre, do one more each side. Bend, hand to the side, and move across. And I want you to imagine it's your heart centre that's coming underneath the arm. Hip goes back, and inhale. And then straighten, right arm on, bend the left knee, and reach back. Open through that right side and centre. Both hands back on and curl your spine up and step yourself forward. So finishing with, I'll save the best till last, a nice lunge. So we're going to send one leg back. The front knee's directly over the ankle and I'm sitting nice and tall through my upper body. So I'm using the chair more for a balance. I'm not leaning on it here. So I want to take that angle, hip, knee, back leg is straight. Push out through that back heel, and then just going to bring my chair a little closer. And then bend the back knee. So I let that, I roll through my toes, my back knee comes in, then I push out through that back heel, really send it away. And then I bend, and I straighten, bend, and straighten, bend, and straighten. I lift the hands up and place them behind my head. Again, just watch that your ribs don't pop forwards here, soften the ribs. And then my right elbow, I lift to the ceiling. I lift my ribs and I really open into that right side. And then come centre. And then again, the left side, lift the elbow, open into those side ribs. Come back to centre. Hands come in front, you can use your chair. And then we're just going to open that right arm out. And I turn and look at the hand. Bring it forwards. And then I open out through that left side. So keeping everything forwards, the hips. And I move from my heart to open. Bring the hand back. And step yourself in. Let's do the other side. Send the leg back. Nice. Knee bend. Heel away, and then bend and push away. Bend and push away. Bend and push out through the heel. Bend and push out through the heel. Then just establish your centre. So just don't forget to keep those lower abdominals lifting up, keeping wide at the back ribs. Bring your hands up to support the head. It's almost like you hug round with your armpits. As you then lift the elbow, I want you to think about lifting these floating ribs, but really growing out of the hip. So I'm sending this hip forwards as I lift and open out of that side. Then back to centre. Let's just do the other side. This is great for our balance. And come back centre. Hands come forwards. They can be on the chair or the bar. We open out to the side, moving from your heart, and then centre. Other side, opening out, and centre. Bring that back leg in, and shake those legs out. Okay, so there we are. A sequence of stretches that, if done regularly, are really going to make the difference to your running performance. I hope you've enjoyed it. Give me any feedback. If you're having problems with any of the movements and need any modifications or variations to achieve a similar result in the body, please don't hesitate to get in touch. There are so many tools that I can offer you to be able to help improve your running, improve the mobility of your body and the stability of your body. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll see you very soon. Bye-bye.